Welcome back
Yeah,
to Death Before Booze. I'm Sam. Hi, Jen.
I'm Jen. Hi,
And
Sam.
today we are on episode 54.
54,
54.
and we're like 2 weeks away from our first year
Yeah, oh my
anniversary.
god,
That's
we should
exciting.
probably plan something. I think I put
Yeah.
out on
Mm.
the social media, the soch. I'm pretty
The
sure I put
Soch.
something out like a call for stories or ask me anything questions or like suggestions.
Yeah.
So if you have any
Yeah.
of those things and you want to send them in, go
Send,
ahead. I mean, you can email us at
send
deathbeforebooze@gmail.com,
them.
or you can direct message us on Instagram. Don't direct message me on Facebook. I fucking hate Facebook Messenger. It's like the worst invention in the world and it keeps popping up. And so don't do that. But Instagram or email is perfect. So yeah, what's our topic for today now that we bullshitted about nothing?
We're doing satanic
Satanic
vibes.
vibes. This one freaked me the fuck out. I'm so excited to tell you all about it.
Yeah, this one was
This
a
was a
little off the
lot.
rails for me
Mine's
too.
long too, so this is gonna be a bumpy
I don't
ride.
know if mine will be as long, but
All
we'll
right,
get
here we
there.
go. You go
So
first.
I
Tell
go
me a story.
first. So we're going we're gonna be in Toa Payoh, Singapore. I looked at Google and it told me how to say this 13 times, and I don't think I said it right even then. So
Isn't
I
Teo a
apologize.
club?
It's Toa Payoh.
Isn't that a club we go
No,
to?
it's a city.
Oh,
No, that no. Is it? I think that's like the energy drink that The Rock made. I don't know,
I'm like 90%
but
sure there's a club called
anyway,
Teo and it's at like Mohegan. Oh
probably,
wait, maybe it's at the other one,
probably.
Foxwoods. There's definitely one in Vegas because I've eaten at the restaurant. I did not go to the club. Homie did not have
Huh.
time or patience. Another thing I'm too old for,
It's
clubs. Okay, so we're in
mhm,
Singapore. Ready?
yeah. We're in Singapore, and we're going to be talking about these ritualistic
Ew.
murders. So we're going to start off with Adrian Lim. He was born January 1942. He was a little bit hot tempered, as some people would describe him as, and he had dropped out of Anglo Chinese school to work. Okay,
So we're in
sure.
Singapore.
Um,
Is Singapore in China?
yeah,
Isn't Singapore its own country?
it's in
It's in Asia.
Asia.
So,
Yeah,
but he was in an Anglo Chinese. So
Anglo
white people
Chinese.
Chinese
Yeah, isn't
school in it's a
it
wait, is
right?
it's like a
Isn't
white
that
run
crazy?
Chinese school in Singapore.
I mean,
Okay.
it could be because there are English schools like that
I just want to
that
make
there's
sure I
English,
understood the
like you teach.
assignment.
I
If
don't
you're
know.
smarter than us
I
and
don't
know what
know.
that means, let us know. You can email us.
I know. I promise we're like I am smart.
Just
I just like sometimes I'm looking up stuff and I'm like I don't know stuff about other places.
we're in
So
America. They don't
I,
teach us anything except,
I don't know. They don't teach us shit
I don't
over
know how to do
here. So
taxes. I don't
I'm
know about
working on it, but they don't teach
geography.
us
I don't know
shit.
about world history.
Nope.
We're a little self-centered over
Nope.
here.
Nope. Yep. Yeah. I mean, just look at what's happening right now. Like we're in election year and everybody's laughing at us.
They're
So
laughing at us even when we're not
we're
having an
fine.
election,
Everything's
so it's
great.
fine.
I
Whatever.
know. So Adrian worked for the cable company. He worked there for 14 years. For 3 years, he installed and serviced some kind of, it's called red diffusion sets on electric. Um, cool. All right. Um, in 1967, sorry, Lim married his childhood sweetheart and they had two
Oh, fun.
kids.
Yay, kids.
Yay. He converted to Catholicism for his marriage.
Wow, that was nice. I'm sorry.
Yay. Lim and his family lived in a rental house or rental rooms until he purchased a 3-room flat on the 7th floor of Block 2 in Teofeo.
Okay.
Okay. He was then unemployed because he chose, I don't want to do that anymore.
Oh,
So, but wait for it. He found out he was a medium and he had
who would have
powers.
guessed?
I mean,
Did it hit his
I
head?
would. So
Just
he's
magically
unemployed.
we're a medium? Like
he's
nothing gave it away
he's a
before this
medium.
moment?
He has powers that can help cure people's whatever headaches, like if they have ailments of any kind, he can cure them.
Well, it's not a medium. That's not a medium.
I no, but he can do everything. The problem is the rituals get a little bit loud at night. So the residents were like called the authorities a couple times. We're like, "Hey, I don't know what the hell's going on in there, but
No,
it's
guys,
not
it's cool.
great."
I'm a medium. It's fine.
It's cool. I
I'm
just
a
saved this
medium
person from a headache. It's
and I
totally
have
cool.
magic powers.
Okay.
And he didn't hit his head.
And this is how
Okay.
no, but this is how he's making his money because he's a con man and people just think, "Oh, like this is great." But so he's like, "Let's make money this way." Great.
Okay.
Not great, but
Okay.
So how he would convince people, he would go into these trances and he'd use different voices during these times. He'd speak in different languages. He performed tricks to help clients sleep, and he would kind of like try to cleanse them of evil in them if he sensed it. Um, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
you know what? You've said dumb.
Guys,
You've
go to
said
a
weirder,
doctor.
weirder,
Okay?
dumber shit that led to shit like
You
this.
know,
So this kind of just
I
checks for
have.
me. Like the box just went, oh yeah, okay, I
Yeah,
get it. Like I have nothing else to. Yeah, no, I
this makes
mean,
sense.
I
This makes
totally see
sense.
exactly where
Yeah.
this is going. Love it for them.
Uh-huh. So in 1972, he started part-time practice as a spirit medium, and again would be out of his apartment. So he would usually prey on the vulnerable women and girls who were younger than him, and he'd be like, "Hey, do you need to talk to somebody? I got spiritual
I know a
connections.
guy. He's dead, but I know him.
You." So he usually, of course, these women were impoverished, they had little education, so of course he picked the people who were more likely to believe his bullshit.
The vulnerable.
He would rent a room where he attended to these women. Most of them again were like barmaids and all that stuff, and his customers also included not only these type of women but superstitious men and elderly women that he would cheat out of cash. So he picked the demographic of people who were afraid that he could prey on, that would be like, "Oh, you're a medium. Oh, this trick that you did. Oh, I'm
This is
magically
very
cured." And he'd be
evangelical,
like,
if you
"Yep,
ask
see,
me. Where's the
there it
snakes?
is." Yeah.
Are we gonna fall down?
So this guy just kind of goes off the rails. So he learned his trade from a shaman called Uncle Willie, who I have no
You
there's
don't
no
know Uncle
fucking
Willie?
there's no
What's your
we
problem?
don't
He
know
was at the
Uncle Willie.
barbecue
He's
the
just
other day. We had a whole clam bake with Uncle Willie. You don't know him?
we just listen, Uncle Willie is a shaman and he just was like, "Hey, I'm going to teach my craft to people." So
Yeah,
there it
got
is.
it.
So he also prayed to various gods despite being Catholic. He
Oh, I
also
forgot the
there's
Catholic thing.
the Hindu
Okay.
goddess. Yep, the Hindu goddess, all kinds of things. So he deceived his clients because he used these tricks where apparently, okay, there's this needles and egg trick. Okay, stick with me because it's weird. After blackening the needles with soot from a burning candle, he carefully inserted them into a raw egg and sealed the hole with powder. In his ritual, he passed the egg several times over his clients while chanting and asking her to crack open the egg. Unaware that the egg had been tampered with, the client would be convinced that the sight of the black needle inside was evil spirits tampering with her. It I don't know what to say about this because I was confused. And I'm still
And
kind of confused, but at
this
the
is
same
happening like the
time,
50s and
it just
60s.
this is the
Oh, that
70s.
kind of explains a
You
little
know?
bit.
I guess, but like Jesus, I don't know.
Okay.
So he claimed he had supernatural powers through these rituals, and he used to, be like, "Okay, well, I have, I'm going to massage
Mm,
you," which would get him able to sexually assault his
perfect.
victims. So sometimes he would have to massage her whole body,
I
including
mean,
genitals, and then he would proceed to, grape her. And that was part of the ritual.
I know one way to frighten off a demon.
Jesus Christ. I don't.
I'm so sorry. These poor women. I'm
He
making a
also
joke that was
used
very uncalled for.
electroshock therapy.
What? Wow. Wait a minute. We went from eggs with needles. Where the fuck did this guy get
That's
shit
the
to do
trick that would.
electrotherapy in Singapore? Do they just sell that at CVS? Like, where do you get that?
Oh. No, well, here's how he did it. He would put the client's feet in a
No,
tub of water, and then he'd attach wires to the temples of
no.
their temples, and he'd let the electricity pass
Hard
through them.
pass.
The shocks, he assured people, would cure headaches and drive away
I
evil
feel like that would give me
spirits.
more of a headache. It's right on my fucking head. No. No.
Like right at the
No.
temples. Oh, here, just put your feet in
No.
this water. Like, what?
No. No.
What?
Tell them no.
It's just weird.
That's a very bad idea. Do not do that. Dr. Sam, who has no
No, and it's
medical
not.
training, is telling you, do not allow this to happen to you. This is a bad idea.
Don't.
How many people died? How many people died?
Nobody died from that.
I am
It just
shocketh. I'm shocked. Oh, good for them.
So he used his fake powers and this persuasion to threaten and intimidate all of his female partners. So like
Oh my
his
God.
wife,
I forgot he was married and
um,
Catholic. I'm doing really
who
bad.
she eventually left
Good
him
for
and
her.
was like,
Good
the
for her.
fuck? So took the 2 kids,
He had
whatever, fine.
kids.
Yes, he had 2 kids. And he used various amounts of, the typical domestic violence of isolation, threats, trapped people, the whole, like, he's a piece of shit. Like, he was extremely physical towards people. He'd slam their heads against the
Ew.
walls. He would kick them, pull their hair, and he tortured them by electrocuting him, not just by the electroshock that he called. Like,
So he's here to cure headaches, but he's bashing people's heads into the wall. Talk about creating scarcity so
Yeah.
you have work to do later.
yeah, so this is where he ended up meeting his holy wives, which we'll get to holy wives because this is a cult. It seems like a cult anyway. So, So Tan Mu Chu was 20 years old. She was referred to Lim because she had depression and she had other ailments that she needed. So she started visiting him regularly. And in 1975, he insisted that she move in where he was living already with his wife and 2 kids. So, hey, lady, move in with us. And the wife's like, what did you think was going to
Christianity and
happen?
polygamy
So his
don't
wife's
really
like, no,
mix.
I'm not. What the
In
fuck?
Catholicism
Right.
specifically.
And again, in Catholicism, like
You
fucking,
picked the most strict
but
Christian
wife was like,
thing you could find and then went, I'm going to blow
yeah.
the doors off this. I got this brand new thought.
And you know what?
Fuck you, Jesus. We're going with polygamy. Mormons, here we come.
And I mean, the wife of obviously was like, no. So
Good for her.
moved out, divorced,
Excellent. So
moved
proud
out a
of
little
her.
bit. And then 2 years later, Adrian and Tan registered to be married. So, okay. He again was extremely abusive, did the whole bit. He sexually exploited and financially abused her as
That's just a
well.
gem.
He forced her into becoming a prostitute
Ew.
and a stripper and took her
Ew.
earnings. So basically he was like her pimp, but like her husband who was forcing her to do this.
I don't like him. I feel bad for her. Can we help her? Is she like okay?
Yeah.
Can we do something for her? Okay.
She's not okay.
Oh my
So
God. Oh my
Adrian
God.
then made Tan convince young women to come and go through his spiritual thing to basically be raped. Like that's
I hate
so
everything that you're saying right now.
and because she was trapped because he has all her money, he cut her off from everything. She already came in with depression and stuff. So then enter Ho Kong Kong. who her mother brought her in when she was 24 to get treatment from Adrian. That's just how he gets people. They're like, hey, we hear you're really good at curing things. Okay. So he made Ho one of his holy wives and again started isolating her. A holy wife for him um basically isn't like an official marriage, but it's like a side
It's a
marriage type of
spiritual thing.
thing.
Yeah, it's not
Yes,
on paper because you're
it's a
not allowed to have
ritual.
multiple wives. It's like Cody Brown
Exactly.
and the
Especially
sister
now,
wives. It's like that. Yeah.
yes.
Yes.
Yes. So and yeah. Now Ho- this poor woman Hokan had some issues. She had they had a mock wedding because of the holy wife thing. She moved in with him after 3 months of meeting him. He made up lies claiming she was an illegitimate child and her family was immoral, that were practicing whatever to keep her there. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But with these two women, he continued to get his money by doing his supernatural medium bullshit. So, try to convince other women to come in. And at the time of his arrest, because eventually, spoiler, he gets
Thank God.
arrested at the end, he had 40
Get the
holy
fuck
wives.
out of
So,
here.
how do you do that?
How does his penis not fall off? How do you.
I,
Why?
I, I don't know. I don't
How?
know.
What?
So now Adrian and his two wives, Tan and Hokan, started to have some issues because in late 1980s, he was arrested and charged with raping a girl, Lucy Lo Kohan, a door to door cosmetic saleswoman. He met her, they pulled her in. He actually, how he got her there, Adrian told her a ghost was haunting her, but he could exorcise this ghost, but he had to perform a sexual
I
ritual.
mean, nothing scares away a spirit like a sexual ritual.
Now, Lucy was like, no, but in
No.
order for him to
Nah.
convince her,
I'll be good.
he drugged
Ew.
her and raped her
I hate
instead.
him.
So,
I hate.
okay, try to do it the way of like, hey, we just need to perform this sex ritual, and she's like, no, if you don't want to buy my cosmetics,
I
I'll
mean,
move on, like, I'm
Avon
good.
is known
But
all over the world. I don't need you. I can
I'll go
go. I
next
know
door,
there's a
it's
woman
fine.
upstairs. She's got 17 kids and really needs my lipstick. So
And wants
I
lipstick,
have an
they
appointment
have
with
all kinds
her
of stuff.
next.
I
So
don't need
I'm
this.
gonna
Well,
bounce.
unfortunately, he drugged and raped her, and then that's when he got arrested, because when she did get out, she filed a police report because
Good for
duh,
her. Good
like,
for
of
her. I feel
course.
badly. I'm sorry I said good for her prematurely, but like good for her for getting out and like saying something because all these other women were just
And
like,
get and being
rape
like,
me.
fuck
It's
it.
fine. Like,
Yeah.
oh,
Oh, it's a ghost. I have a ghost in me for
do none
sure.
of them have
Like, okay.
TikTok and know Palo
I
Santo will help just as easily? Pray,
I
pray, pray the
I don't
pray.
know. I don't know. so,
I hate it.
so Adrian was arrested on charges of rape, and Tan, his wife, his actual wife,
The
that was
first one who
legally,
like left with the
um,
two kids, or is this the second one who he's like pulling out?
this is the second this is the second one
Okay.
that's kind of just pulling people in. She also was arrested for
Aiding and abetting.
for helping him at that point. So they went out on bail. And Adrian was like, you know what? I don't want to do
Piece of
this again.
garbage.
So there were some issues that happened with the bail. I don't know. It's such bullshit. He's a piece of shit. All we know is that he was out on bail and he's like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm not going back in there. So the police were investigating this rape because they charged him, they arrested him, but he got out on bail. So he was annoyed and angry with the constant questioning, and he claimed I was framed. Mhm.
I did not rape that
Yeah.
woman. I tripped and fell, and the spirit made my penis
I-
go inside
and my
her.
penis just
I hate this man. Why? 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 I hate him. Why are men? I hate him.
So he decided, I'm going to act on revenge now because I'm mad about being brought up on rape
Then don't
charges
rape
and they're
people.
asking questions.
I solved it. Fixed it.
I
You're
mean, I
welcome.
mean,
I
I mean, it's
fucking
solved.
hate him.
So he decided, all right, I'm going to try to push the heat off of me by doing something different and having the police go in a different direction so it doesn't lead back to me. So he turned towards kids.
No.
So I'm just going to give you a trigger warning here. It has to do with kids, but I'm not going to go super deep into it. So he plotted that if I'm going to distract the police by killing kids in a ritualistic type of murder so that they would be like, "Whoa, what's over there?" And it's not the same thing as what he did. So
No.
I can't. Okay.
No.
He believed that sacrificing children to the Hindu god Kali would help him escape this rape charge and other issues.
Is the
So
goddess
he
Kali
pretended to be
into that? Is she
Kali.
into it?
I mean, I'm trying to see if I had. No, I didn't have anything about the goddess Kali. So if you know anything about the Hindu goddess Kali, I don't know if sacrificing a child is her thing. I'm just going to go with no, but like, I don't know about that.
I mean, the Catholic medium shaman sacrificing kids to a Hindi goddess.
Mhm.
That I mean,
Yeah.
it checks, but fuck you.
Yeah,
I
it's
hate
weird.
him. Did I say that yet? Sorry.
Yeah, he's a fucking asshole. He's a piece of shit and
Okay,
everything.
okay,
So
okay.
he also pretended to be possessed by this Hindu goddess and told his wife Tan and his holy wife Hokan that the goddess wanted him to kill children to wreak revenge. And he also told them that Fergan, who is another goddess, demanded he have sex with female victims. This guy's all over the map. Like I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't.
I hate him.
So he brought home, or Hokan brought home, because he asked her, hey, could you find
No.
young girls for this
No.
sacrifice? So he rejected 3 of them that she brought home, or that she, one for race, one for being too skinny, and one because people saw the girl walking with her. So we can't have any of those things.
Okay.
Okay. So Agnes Hoek, again, I'm sorry with the names, was last seen waiting for her sister January 24th, 1981. She was 9. She was a student at Holy Innocents Chinese Girls School, and she disappeared. She was last seen with her sister, and she was at the church, so people were like, oh my gosh, she just disappeared. Adrian told Hokan that Agnes would grow up to be evil like her, Hokan's mother, and cast spells, so she needed to be killed. This 9-year-old girl is going to grow up and she's going to become a witch.
Imagine if you met me as a child.
Is what I got from the conversation.
Ooh.
So they kidnapped Agnes. They gave her food and drink, which they laced with a sedative or like a drug so that they'd knock her out. She fell asleep. Of course, he sexually abused her. They pricked her finger, and each of them took a sip of the blood.
You know, how come I don't get to utilize the trigger warning here? Like, why? No. I know, but I still have to listen. Everybody else gets to fast forward.
I mean, so then they killed her.
Baby.
They drowned her in the tub. But Then he used his electric shock therapy to make sure she like,
Wouldn't that break her back?
bro, I
Like,
don't. So they put her in like a duffel
oh
bag and they dropped her near block 11 or something like that. So hours later, the child was
my
found
God.
less than a mile from the church. So she was like literally walking distance of the church, not even a mile from the
They
church. She
suck
was
at
found.
this.
Investigation revealed injuries to her genitals, semen, and people launched an investigation. And they questioned more than 250 people around the crime scene, but they could not get any leads, unfortunately.
I hate it.
Yeah. Lynn,
Okay.
or Adrian, then told Hokan he wanted a boy next to throw off the
What
pattern.
pattern? You only killed one. Like, can't we be done? Can't we be done? Wasn't one enough?
I know. So he also wanted someone with money so that he can collect a ransom.
Did the Hindi goddess Kali tell you to do that one too?
I apparently I don't know where this is coming from. So I don't fucking know. But February 7th, the body of 10-year-old Ghazali bin Marzuki was found under a tree between blocks 10 and 11. He had been missing since the previous day after being seen boarding a taxi with an unknown person. This unknown person was Ho
Oh,
Khan, who convinced him to come into the taxi. Um, Forensic pathologists on the scene deemed the cause of death was drowning, and they found the boy had suffocation marks similar to those on Agnes. So they knew that these were
okay.
connected because both kids had the same type of injuries and all that. There were no signs of
Oh, thank
sexual
God.
assault. There were burns on his back and punctures on his arm, and traces of a sedative were detected in his blood. Same sedative that was detected in Agnes. So they knew, okay, we're going somewhere. But the police found a trail of blood that led to the 17th
Fucking
floor
morons.
where Adrian lives. So, when
The big one. Just cleared
so
her throat.
apparently what had happened was so apparently what had happened was the boy had they didn't realize, but his nose was bleeding from all of the different, like, he was struggling and all the stuff that he went through. I'm not going to go
Thank
into
you.
what he went through. That's not, I don't
Thank
want to
you.
go into that. But his nose was bleeding. So when they were bringing him back outside, they didn't realize, oh, there are blood stains. Now they tried to clean it before people arrived, but, like, there's a trail. So Adrian introduced himself and said he's living there with his wife Tan and his girlfriend Hokan. He permitted them to search the flat, and officers found various religious items and an altar.
Okay.
So there were crucifixes, Hindu and Chinese idols, and some of the idols were smeared with blood. I guess for a ritualistic type of thing. Who
No.
fucking knows?
No.
Um, Now they asked him about the blood trail, and he said, "Oh, the Chinese New Year was over, and I had been killing chickens in the kitchen for a
Oh.
ritual." So,
And
I
and you
mean,
just took
that
and
makes
you just took
checks.
the dead bleeding chickens out by this dead kid that we
I
found in the park.
mean, whoops, just the chickens
The
and I
chickens
don't
ran
know how
around
that.
without their
So,
heads down to the park. Like, how do we explain the trail, honey?
so once the officers actually searched more of the house, they found vials of
Nope.
blood in the fridge, but the damning evidence was a piece of paper.
This mofo
The
wrote it
pieces of
down.
paper had the dead children's personal details. Lim had tried to remove carpet or hairs from his carpet, so hairs of the kids, and tried to flush it down the toilet, but the police were like, "No, we got you." Awesome.
I'm glad they caught him.
So
He's such garbage.
they requested a background check on him because, of course, like, they're like, like, why would this kid be with these kids anyway? So that's when they found out that he was under investigation for the rape. And that's when Adrian got very mad and he got very frustrated and he started raising his voice to the law enforcement officers. So they were like, this is suspicious because you're now being like,
So hold up. You're raping people and got caught, and
Mhm.
you had big angry
Yep.
feelings about it. So then you went and murdered
Yep.
two innocent children,
Yep.
and got caught
Yep.
again because you're a fucking idiot
Mhm.
and you're mad again.
Mhm. Yes. He's mad in particular about when they said to him, "Hey, we see that you were involved in a rape allegation." That's what set him off. Not this stuff,
Okay.
but it was that. Because to him, it was part of a ritual, it wasn't rape.
Oh, it's the okay. Okay, I understand now. What?
Oh, it
Well,
makes
now that you
complete
put it
sense.
that way,
I
I
mean,
mean, come on.
oh my gosh. So, 2 days after they arrested him, they also arrested Tan and Ho-chan
Well,
because they
yeah.
were involved. They were charged with the murder of the 2
Mhm.
children. They were subjected to further interrogations by the police and medical examiners. On September 16th, their case was brought to the Court of Committal Procedure, which is basically just a grand
Cool.
jury, to prove that the case against the accused. So they called 58 witnesses and had 184 pieces of evidence
Cool.
to present to the magistrate. So now Tan and Ho Chan denied the charges of murder. Also, Adrian pled guilty and he said, I am the sole person responsible. My wife, girlfriend, holy wives are not involved. It's just me. Well, they decided the case, they had enough evidence for all of them. So they're like, okay, that's nice that you're
How
putting yourself forward, but
chivalrous.
they were
You
also
really are a
involved.
gentleman.
Right. Thanks.
Good job.
Yep. So despite him doing that, they decided, okay, they're still gonna charge the other women as well. Their trial turned out to be the second longest murder trial in Singapore, and it lasted about 2
Wow.
months.
Okay.
Yeah. So on April 13th, Adrian took the stand. Now, usually we don't like to, we say, don't take the stand on your own
So
trial.
how did he help his
I don't
defense?
know.
How did this work out?
Well, he said that he was the sole proprietor of the crimes. He claimed that he had taken lessons from this Uncle Willie
I
character,
love
who,
that
again, we
guy.
don't really know who the hell he is. And he had special
Oh
powers.
yeah.
He denied. He still is denying that rape allegation
It
against
was
Lucy.
a spiritual cleansing, guys. It was a ritual.
It was she had a ghost. He
was
had
a
to exercise the
ritual.
ghost. He didn't want to answer all of their questions, obviously, because he's like, no. And he would claim that he was bound by religious duty to tell the truth. However, the prosecution was like, you lie to people. That's your job. Like, you lie to people and you take their money. He lied to his wives. He lies to his clients. So yeah, like, you're a piece of shit. So just by you being like, I am bound by God to tell the truth, you're not telling the
No,
truth. So
I don't like
yeah.
him.
So Tan and Ho-chan were cooperative. They answered the questions of the court. And they also brought up how they lived in constant fear of him. The fact that he would abuse them physically, how he forced them into certain things. They believed he really had this power over them. They had no free will. Tan did admit that Adrian had defrauded his customers. And she said, I knew about that. Fine. And she helped him kind of do it. Ho-chan agreed that she was conscious of her actions, although she had some mental things going on. I think that it was said that she might have been, that she had suffered from schizophrenia and all of that, but still she, so, and of course now you're like being mentally abused. So that's a whole nother thing, and physically. So May 25th, 1983, the trial outcome took 15 minutes. The jury
Surprised it
members were
took
like,
that
yeah,
long.
okay. So
Could you
Yeah,
imagine?
I
It
have
probably
two,
like I could see this one going as it took longer for the jury to file out, get in the room, sit down, hear the instructions. You know what? Maybe it did take 15 minutes because you got to file out, you got to sit down. They
because that
come in, they
whole
tell you, all right, these are your instructions, and they all kind of look at each other. We're gonna vote, right? He's guilty. He's definitely he's guilty. All right, write down, fill out the
yeah.
paperwork. No, don't sign there. You sign here. We need new paperwork. Okay. We get the new paperwork and we go back.
Yeah,
Okay,
paper.
15 minutes checked. I'm okay with that.
I also think that it might have been harder because they were also they had to convict the two women too, and I think that was also into play here because they were,
Oh, they had to fill out the paperwork 3 times. All right, 15 minutes. That works. Yep. Okay,
yeah,
we're in. Yep.
exactly. So all three were found guilty and received the mandatory death penalty because that is what it is, mandatory
Okay.
death penalty, which was the only available punishment allowed for murder under Singapore law at the time. So the two women, when they were heard their results, they didn't react to the sentence. Adrian said, quote, "Thank you, my lords." What the fuck is wrong with this guy? Well, a lot's wrong
You
with
said
him.
it.
I'm just gonna go. Now, before the times of the executions, Adrian denied any appeals. He was like, whatever, I fine, I'll own it, which is very surprising
Oh my God,
to me. But I guess like he was very upset about the rape charges.
It was
it was spiritual. Okay.
guys.
It was a ghost. I had to exercise it. There's a whole system for it. They don't understand.
Every time we
So
say
I
that,
guess the
yeah.
murder
Okay,
thing, he's like,
I'll
okay,
give you
fine.
the murder thing. I did that. But like every time you say, all I think of is that guy from
Yes.
Friends where he's like, we were on a break. Like, it was a ritual. I needed to do that.
It was a
Like, it's
ritual.
all I keep. We're on a break. It was a ritual. Like,
We're on a break. So the two women did try to appeal. Their decision didn't really work out. So all three were executed by hanging November 25th, 1988. So it's yeah. So there you go. There's our Singapore.
That was something.
Yeah.
That was something. I mean, good job. Good job reporting.
It was definitely
bad job on the guy.
Definitely
I hate him, and I'm kind of
what a piece of shit.
Trash.
What a
He's
piece
garbage.
of shit.
I fucking hate him, and I'm glad he's dead. So, okay. Wow, that was a lot. Like there were a lot. There was a lot there. And now this is gonna be a very this is gonna be a fun episode for people. And I mean that fun in the worst way possible because I'm gonna put a trigger warning on my story from the get. It's not a doll. Don't freak out. We're not talking about a doll today. But anytime someone brings up demons or possessions or satanic stuff, it does and can stir things up for people. So I'm just putting it out there. This is very demon heavy. There's a lot of talk of demonic possession, child abuse, and just some really plain fucked up shit in this case. So
great.
If you could like not stop listening because we need the download, but like fast forward or do that little thing where you hold it and go to the end, I would appreciate it. But and this is also,
or just
you can
around,
definitely listen. Good luck. Have a great time. This is not a fun story. I mean, if you're into it, it's like, holy shit, this happened. But if you're not, like, I totally get it and fast forward. So I am covering the Demon House, also known as the House of 200 Demons from Gary, Indiana. Okay. So, it's 2011, and the Ammons family move into their new to them house. They started renting a house located at 3860 Carolina Ave. The main floor, like this is a one floor house anyway with a basement. The main floor had 3 bedrooms, a living room, a bathroom, hardwood floors, and an open style kitchen with a door that led to the basement. And the basement had partial concrete floors. Cool.
Okay.
The Ammons family is made up of Latoya Ammon, her mom, Rosa Campbell, and then Latoya's 3 children, then aged 7, 9, and 12. We do not know the children's names. They are protected. And a lot of times LaToya would
That's
say,
okay.
I will do an interview about this. She's been very outspoken. I will do an
But don't
you
involve the
can refer to
kids.
my children by their ages.
Yeah.
We will not be talking about their names. Totally cool.
That makes sense.
So in December, just a couple days after moving in, LaToya and Rosa claim that their front porch was swarmed with black flies. Rosa said, quote, "This is not normal. We killed them and killed them and killed them, and they just kept coming back." Very Amityville.
No. Yeah, very Amityville.
Initially, Rosa also heard footsteps that would move from the basement up the basement stairs, and then she would hear the basement door start to creak open. Specifically after midnight, this would happen. So, 12:01, she'd start hearing footsteps.
Mm-hmm.
Then soon after that, LaToya started hearing these footsteps, and they would leave their rooms and meet up in the kitchen and be like, what the fuck? Because they thought somebody entered the house. They thought an intruder was in the house. So they'd search around. They'd be like, what's going on here?
Nope.
LaToya and Rosa put a latch on the basement door to lock the basement door. And they're like, this'll do it. Well, then they started hearing footsteps from the basement up the basement stairs. And then whenever it was got to the basement door, they'd hear a whack. Whether it was walking into the door or as it would then continue to start pounding on the door for minutes at a time. But they would open the door and nothing would be there. So nobody's in the house. Nothing's in the house. They don't see anything, but they're hearing all this stuff.
Yeah,
next, the next fun event, Rosa, the mom, grandma, says she witnessed a shadowy, sexy figure of a man pacing in the living room. And she would get up to check it out and be like, the fuck? So she's ready to fucking pounce on some intruder dude who's in her house. Bitch, what? Get the fuck out. What? And then she'd get out there and there'd be no more human or no more figure or no more nothing. The only thing that would be in the living room where she saw this shadow thing pacing were wet boot prints, large wet boot prints. And then they started to see the wet boot prints, not just in the living room. So now they would see the wet boot prints come from the basement stairs into the living room and stop in the middle of the living room without any retreat steps. There was nothing walking away. It was just, it got to the middle of the living room and stopped. Or the steps would originate in the middle of the living room and walk towards the basement, depending on the day. Hate it. After a death in the family, the Ammons clan, so the whole family came over and they were all talking about it and reminiscing, a repast kind of thing. So they were all at the Ammons house for a really long time. It was a little bit after midnight. And the oldest child, 12-year-old daughter, had a friend stay over. So they were in her room, they were asleep. And one of the sons, so the two sons, they're 7 and 9. One of the sons starts screaming, Mom, come quick. LaToya goes into the room. It's just after midnight. And she sees her daughter unconscious levitating above the bed. Above the sheets, above the comforter, levitating above the bed. So now the other little girl wakes up and starts freaking out. Dude, same. Okay? Dude, same.
I'd be like, I'm never staying at your house.
No, I'm done.
Again.
The rest of the family came in and they all witnessed the girl levitating above the bed. So the family said that they prayed together over the little girl until she was returned to her bed. And the instant she hit the bed, she woke up, had no recollection of what was going on, but was absolutely terrified. So woke up in the middle of a panic attack.
Oh,
the family who was visiting never stepped foot in the house again. No shit. Neither did that little girl. Nah, I'd be good. I'm fine. No worries. Peace out.
You can come to my house. I'm not going to your house.
So, so around here, Rosa and LaToya started reaching out to churches trying to get help. And nobody would listen. They all were like, dude, you're fucking with us. Get out of here. So finally, one church
the worst.
recommended the family clean the home with bleach and ammonia and use oil to draw crosses on every door and window. Didn't you know bleach scares away demons? Did you know that? Because
I didn't think it was bleach, but you
now
know
you
what? I
know.
could be
Now
wrong.
you
I
know.
did.
Latoya also said she poured olive oil on her 3 children's hands and feet and smeared oil in the shape of crosses on their foreheads and burnt sage around the house, trying to ward off whatever evil was there. Cool.
Right.
When that really didn't work, they reached out to a few clairvoyants, and these people, I think it was a man and a woman, they came to the home and said the home was besieged by more than 200 demons, that the house had been inhabited by Satanists prior to them, who would perform both animal and human rituals to the devil in the basement. And now this made sense to the Amons family because, you know, they're Christian. So yeah, definitely that checks. That's exactly what happened here.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
The clairvoyants then said, dude, you got to move. You got to leave. You got to get out of here before something happens. And unfortunately, they didn't have the finances to do so. So
that's
in a way to try and help,
that's the worst.
The clairvoyants suggested we'll create an altar in the basement, put like a whole bunch of like crosses and shit on it, you know, and then we'll do a couple salt circles, and this should help deter the demons.
I don't know. I mean, again, I'm not really like a big like person. I don't know a lot about the paranormal. I don't know about this. I don't think that this would help.
I mean, once just the house is like inhibited by demons, I don't think an altar with a cross on it's really gonna do much.
They're like, they're not gonna step out
cool.
of this.
It's cool.
They're gonna
I
stop
put salt down. You're safe. We got this. They don't like salt. It's too salty. They have high blood pressure. It's not working for them. You know, hypertension is a killer. So obviously that didn't help because the kids start to become possessed. Their eyes bulge, evil smiles cross upon their faces, their voices deepen every time they talk. The younger boy, the 7-year-old, would spend hours sitting on his floor in his bedroom talking to a quote another little boy in his closet. And the other little boy would tell him stories about how he died and what it felt like to die. Another time with the 7-year-old, allegedly, his eyes rolled into the back of his head and he began growling at the family, quote, "It's time to die," and quote, "I will kill you."
Jesus
another incident happened to the daughter where her headboard broke in half, and one of the pieces, because now it's jagged, it's wood, it fell, smacked her in the head, and she had a gash for which she had to be brought to the hospital for stitches. The daughter told medical professionals on that visit she sometimes felt as though she was being choked and held down, and she couldn't speak or move. She also began to hear voices saying she'd never see her family again and she wouldn't live more than another 20 minutes. So this poor child is just being absolutely terrorized.
Oh my God.
So now this is a huge event and it all happens in one day and it's a lot. It's a lot. So just, I'm going to kind of run through it. If you need to stop me. But like, this is all one day, all one event. So the family reaches out to their physician in an emergency situation. The guy's name is Jeffrey Onyukwuo. I'm sorry. I have no idea. So Dr. Jeff, this is April 19th of 2012. He's like, holy shit. All right, I'm coming over. When he visited the house during the supposed haunting, he noted their behavior was delusional, quote unquote delusional. That's what he put in his records. So he kind of checked everybody out. Everything seemed fine, but they were acting weird. So he went back to his office and had someone from his office contact the police. So now the authorities are involved. The police in DCS, so that's Department of Child Services, you know, they have CPS, and this is DCS. They arrive. Now, in an official DCS report, so this is filed with the state. The 7-year-old, while DCS and police were on the premises investigating what was going on, the 7-year-old was thrown from the bathroom as though something picked him up like a doll and just chucked him out of the room, even though nobody was in there. Those might not have been the official words, but like that's pretty much what happened.
But that's...
As soon as the 7-year-old hit the wall, both boys, so the 7 and 9-year-old, passed out simultaneously. The family was removed from the property and the boys were taken to the hospital. As soon as the boys got into their hospital beds, they both woke up at the same time, much like they had passed out. The older boy was described as acting rationally, like he had just woken up like from a nap, while the younger boy screamed and thrashed, and it took 5 grown-ass men to hold him down so they could put restraints on the 7-year-old. So at this point, DCS, like, they don't have a caseworker because, you know, all this is going on in one day. But DCS, the people who were involved, were like, dude, these kids are putting on a performance for the mob. Like, this was their initial thought. So now they're at the hospital, and DCS assigns a caseworker at the hospital. So, like, somebody was at the house, dealt with all that, but it wasn't their caseworker. So in this few hours, DCS was like, all right, you know, you're going to be the main person. They are at the hospital. Go talk to them. Her name's Valerie Washington. And she gets there and she's like watching what's happening. So the hospital finds that the family is healthy and free of marks and bruises. The hospital psychiatrist evaluates each of them individually and determines that LaToya and her children are all of sound mind. And then that's when Valerie Washington steps in and starts interviewing LaToya. And now they're all in one room. They're all hanging out. And she starts to, you know, question LaToya. The psychiatrist is gone. You know, there is a nurse in the room, but, you know, the kids are in the room. And so is Rosa. Rosa's there too.
Oh,
like, the whole family, this was a family affair. We all went and hung out at the hospital. So as Valerie's talking to LaToya and asking her questions, the 7-year-old starts growling and showing his teeth. His eyes rolled back into his head, and the 7-year-old locked hands around the 9-year-old's throat and refused to let go until hospital personnel could become involved and pried his hands open.
Jesus.
So now they have to be evaluated after that happens. So now the whole thing starts over again. The 9-year-old has to get evaluated. The psychiatrist comes back in. This is what I'm saying. Like, this is all in one fucking day. Later that evening, everything calmed down. Valerie had, you know, interviewed LaToya. Everybody got checked again. Everybody's fine. So Valerie and an RN, Willie Lee Walker, brought the two boys into a small exam room adjacent to where the mother was. And Rosa went with them as they're, like, you know, acting adult. And the whole thing was Valerie wanted to interview the boys for her report. So the 7-year-old, they get into the room and she starts questioning. And the 7-year-old stares into his brother's eyes and begins to growl again. "It's time to die," the boy said in a deep, quote, unnatural voice. "I will kill you." Then the 9-year-old starts headbutting the grandmother Rosa in the stomach. So Rosa grabs her grandson's hands and starts praying. Then in front of the DCS worker, the RN, and Rosa, the 9-year-old gets a weird grin on his face and walked backwards up the wall, up the ceiling, flipped over Rosa, and landed on his feet. He never let go of his grandmother's hands. Valerie told the Star,
"What in the fuck?"
He walked up the wall, flipped over, and stood there. There's no way a 9-year-old could do that. So later, police asked Valerie whether the boy had, like, run up the wall, like, you know, parkour and, like, performed some acrobat thing.
Yeah.
Parkour. Washington told them no. She said the boy glided backwards on the floor, up the wall to the ceiling. This is in a police report. The 9-year-old had no recollection.
Who do you bring in?
Yeah, what do we do? Like, I need Jesus. Like, literally, where's the resurrection? Jesus, take the wheel. So when the 9-year-old came to, or whatever, he had no recollection of the event. And that was it. So they all go home. Because what the fuck? The hospital's like, cool story. You can leave. Quickly, Basil, leave. So they go back home and shit starts getting worse at the house. So they start hearing a dog barking in the kitchen, and they don't have a dog. They don't have a pet, let alone a dog. This weird clear oil starts dripping from the walls and windows. The kids become violent. They speak in tongues and have convulsions. It said the spirits would throw things, move the furniture at all hours of the day and night. So during daylight and nighttime, shit's getting thrown, moved. Like you would look into a room and like a lamp would come flying out at you. In one event, a glass vase was levitated off a table for over a minute and then shot through the air at Latoya, who ducked just in time, and the vase smashed into a wall behind her.
Why would you let them go home?
Because do you really want 9-year-olds crawling on your fucking ceiling like Spider-Man?
I mean, I guess.
No.
But like,
get the fuck out. So, with all these fun disturbances, the police get called multiple times. You know, as you do. So,
I mean,
37-year-old police captain Charles Austin said at first he thought Latoya was making everything up as a way to get rich quick. Like, you know, I'm going to make it up with this crazy story, sell it to the papers.
Right. So
they'd gone to the basement, they saw the altar and the salt circles, and they were weirded out.
They probably
they were like, yo, what's happening here? But he said that he had like a really weird, creeped out feeling when he was like looking at the spot under the stairs. So like I said before, most of the basement is cement, but under the stairs, it's open earth. So like coming down the stairs would be weird.
So weird.
Looking under the stairs, like at this like dirt would be fucking weird. After several visits to the home, Austin said he feels at one point something followed him back to his place. So he said one night he was taking photos of the Ammons porch for his report. He'd done it with his iPhone, and there were strange silhouettes in the picture. That same night, the radio in his police issued Ford malfunctioned on his way home. So it kept turning on and getting staticky, and he thought he could hear voices coming through it, so he shut it off. Then when he got home, his garage door would not open. So he'd hit the button, it wouldn't open. He finally got out to like check and make sure he had power. Well, he had power, so he went to manually open the door and it would not budge. He's like, something was holding my door shut. It wasn't locked. It wasn't this. Like, it didn't like move, like, you know, it's locked, but something's catching. Like, the door would not move.
Right. Something.
Austin said of the event, now not only did he believe the Ammons story, but he was officially believing in paranormal activity in general, and his exact words were, quote, I am a believer. A photo published by the Indianapolis Star claimed to show a shadowy figure when no one was home. So then Reverend Michael Magano, whatever, got a phone call from the hospital chaplain. And he's like, dude, I gotta tell you this fucking story, bro. So then somehow, unbeknownst to the family starts looking, like, they don't know that this happened, but the family starts looking for help again from the churches. So they call his exact parish and get this guy on the phone. And he's like, yo, cool story. 20 minutes ago, I just got off the phone with a chaplain from the hospital you went to, and he told me about you guys. So they hire him to come and perform an exorcism. So first, before he gets involved, and this is a normal church, Catholic church thing, you have to see a psychiatrist or a psychologist before they will get involved. They need to prove. And this is like 3 days. Like, this is not like a long, like, months, weeks, years. This is like 3 days from when they were at the hospital and the kid did his Spider-Man routine. So they get him with a psychologist. They get all the reports written up. They get everything sent over to the Reverend, including what happened in the hospital. You know, they get all these reports. They send it over. And he concludes, like, he does an interview with them and concludes they're being tormented by demons. So then the Reverend goes to their house. He is he has 2 police officers with him, another DCS caseworker because, you know, Valerie's like, I'm good. We're good. I don't want to be involved in this case.
Yeah, I mean,
So her
I
name is
wouldn't. Yeah.
Samantha Elise, something like that. And 2 police officers, including Charles Austin, who we were just talking about, and a police dog. So we came in with the cavalry. So Magano makes his way to the basement. He was drawn to the open dirt floor under the stairs, and he tells police he wants to check in the dirt under the stairs for a pentagram or personal objects that may have been cursed. He also said that so he says a pentagram might indicate a demonic presence, possible portal to hell. And he also suggests that, you know, if somebody had been murdered in the house and was buried under the stairs, that could explain the paranormal activity as well. And again, this is all in police reports. This is not like, you know, IGTV interviewed somebody. Like, these are in official reports.
Yeah. I mean, now, are the kids possessed, or are they
No,
like all the time?
it comes
or
and
are they
goes.
just like, okay.
So the police officers dig a 4-foot by 3-foot hole under the stairs, and they find a pink press-on nail, a pair of white panties, a political pin shirt, a lid for a small cooking pan, socks with the bottoms cut off below the ankles, candy wrappers, and a heavy metal object that they assumed was a weight for a drapery cord. Again, in the official police report, these things are listed. After they were done, they didn't find anything else, so they put the dirt back and raked it over. So the Reverend blesses the basement with some salt. Like, he blesses salt and throws it around the basement, as he, in his words, says is a barrier to evil. And he puts it specifically under the stairs and then around the basement. As this is happening in the basement, the DCS worker, Samantha, we're friends now. You know, we share a name. I can call her Sam. So she's looking around the house doing her investigation, talking to LaToya, talking to the kids, talking to Rosa, doing her thing. And she sees the weird oil dripping off the blinds. So she touches it with her left pinky, like wipes it off.
No. Why would you stop touching things?
So as I'm sure you figure, you know, digging a hole, doing all that, it takes a while. The investigation takes a while. So later that day, her pinky was super cold, had a tingly sensation to her, and was turning white, as though there was no blood flow to the tip of her pinky. After this, she described the tingly feeling getting worse to the point where she felt like her finger was broken. And the second she acknowledged it and said it to the police, like, hey, this is going on, 10 minutes later, she had a panic attack and had to be removed from the house. So the police notice the oil on the wall is still there. So it's on the wall, it's on the blinds. So they go and they wipe the oil off the walls. They try and clean the walls and clean everything. And then they have everybody leave the house. So as they clean it off, and the Reverend goes outside, the family goes outside, the Reverend is interviewing LaToya more, and they're asking questions or whatever. And about a half hour later, the police go back inside to check on the oil situation. And the walls are drenched in the oil again. Hard fucking pass. I'm good. The Reverend eventually performed 3 exorcisms on the house, 2 in English, 1 in Latin. They did have to also perform an exorcism on LaToya. It took a little bit longer for that to happen because it wasn't an exorcism minor. It was like a major one, so they needed like the Vatican's approval and shit.
Right.
Most of, if not all of the events are detailed in nearly 800 pages of official records obtained by the Indianapolis Star. The report recounts more than a dozen interviews with police, DCS personnel, psychologists, psychiatrists, family members, and a Catholic priest. LaToya has been very open about the event. She has signed release to allow Star to review medical, psychological, and official records that are not open to the public and are not always flattering to her, as long as her children's names were never released.
Right.
The Amons family moved to Indianapolis later in 2012, after which the hauntings were said to have stopped completely. So at this point, like I said before, the house has come to be known as the House of 200 Demons. Now, the next chapter for this house, because it doesn't end there. Our favorite ghost hunter. You know him. We love
Oh
him.
my God,
Zach Bagel
yes.
Bites.
Here is Zach Baggins.
Not only inserts himself in this story to investigate what happened, but he goes above and beyond. You want to guess what he does?
Yep. I'm going to say that he tries to taunt the demon because
He
that's just what he
buys
does.
the house in 2014 for $35,000.
Oh, for
His plan is to investigate the
I mean,
house, obviously, for a standalone documentary.
wow.
I think he bit off a little bit more than he could chew for this one, and I know we've talked about this. I'm not sure if it was on Patreon or on the main episode, so if this is a repeat, I apologize. But I'm going to insert my quick opinion, and I know you're shocked because I do that all the time. But around this time when he purchases the house, you see on the Ghost Adventures show itself, we start to see an increase in demonic energy or their assumption of demons or possessions or just negative bullshit in general. Every episode from season 8-ish through to maybe 16 or 17, so around 2018, there's some sort of bullshit that gets pulled into it, whether Zach is like, it's a demon, or they're told it's a demon, or this is malicious, negative,
Right.
blah, 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 blah. I honestly think that this was Zach Bagans pulling of his own personal life at this point. And I don't know if it was the demons knew he was coming, so he kind of stirred it up on himself. And then after he bought the house, the demons kind of made it worse for him. Or if he was becoming obsessed with the idea of demons because he had just purchased this house. So that was the narrative that he started pushing on the show. But either way, whatever happened, the demonic part of the Ghost Adventures storyline really hits here. And it was at a point where like Reddit people were commenting like, why is everything a demon? Everything's a fucking demon. What's going on? You know, like we can't just have a regular haunting with a residual apparition. It has to be a demon who obviously wants to kill Zach.
Yes.
Like this was the constant narrative. So I honestly feel that all of that had a lot to do with this demon house and this passion project that was going on behind the scenes. Like I'm going to put that out there. Anyway, Zach releases his 2-hour documentary horror film labeled Demon House in March of 2018 based on experiences of the Amon family as well as Zach's investigation. In 2016, Zach told the Indie Star, quote, something was inside that house that had the ability to do things I've never seen before. There was something there that was very dark yet highly intelligent and powerful. During the filming of the documentary, one cameraman had become so affected that he needed to leave the project. It seems that something attached to him and followed him back to the hotel that he and the crew were staying at. And he became enraged and violent, like to the point, I think he punched a hole in the wall. And then he left the hotel and they had a hard time finding him for a couple hours. Jay Wasley and Billy Tolley, you know them from Ghost Adventures. They started to see a huge change in Zach again, which I feel bled into their everyday lives and affected Ghost Adventures crew and all that stuff.
Yes.
In the house, they documented the footsteps, the flies, the oil on the wall, things moving around the house. And the crescendo of the documentary is when Zach decides he's going to stay in the house alone for one night. So they camera up the house, they get everything ready, and he's in the house and he's freaking out. Like there's very few episodes where it's like Zach is scared. He is scared. Right. On this night, Zach catches a creature. And when I say creature, I mean a creature. It's like 6 foot tall. It has hooves. It's fucking weird. Moving down the short hall from one of the bedrooms to the bathroom. From this moment on is when Zach begins having problems with his eyes and needs to start wearing corrective lenses that he still wears to this day. And it's something to do neurologically. It's not like just his physical eyes. It's a neurological problem that he had to seek medical help for.
Wow.
After filming his documentary, Zach has the house bulldozed in 2016 as he figured there was no other way to keep the community safe or get rid of the demonic forces. But he did, of course, film the demolition because that's how he closed out Demon House. However, prior to getting rid of the property, Zach had the stairs from the basement and the dirt from under the basement stairs removed and had it flown to his haunted museum. Everything is currently,
of course,
reassembled and now on display. Yes, I've seen it. Yes, it's creepy. It's super heavy in this room. Since the exhibit opened, museum goers have reported seeing a large shadow figure in the room, feeling of being watched or impending doom, shortness of breath, or as though something is pushing on their chest, hearing hisses or voices, and on a few occasions, people have left with bruises or even scratches. And this is my final few notes, like personal notes. So I've purchased Demon House. I've watched the documentary. Ken and I watched it together. I have not watched it since. So even these notes, like that all came from like my memory. Like, because I've said it a million times that I want to watch it again, but something always is like, no, we're going to watch something else. Like, let's watch Rosemary's Baby, or let's watch, something else creepy. People who have watched the documentary, and there is a trigger warning on it, have reported happenings in their home during viewing, the feelings of oppression or being watched, having things knocked over or moved by unseen forces, etc., footsteps, all that stuff. I haven't heard any reports of this being a continuing issue. It seems to only happen while the movie is being played. And I will say, and I saged the house yesterday. Like, not because I was doing these notes, just because something kind of felt heavy and, I've been off and it just seemed like the right thing to do. It is October. So I was like, you know what, maybe we'll just do this. So I saged the house. Something definitely left. But last night, after I saged and I had started working on my notes, so I was in the house and I was in like the back room on the other side of our house compared to where our bedroom was. Ken said that as he was walking from the bedroom to the bathroom, he heard me say hello to him. And I did not. I said maybe it was one of the neighbors on the phone. But after kind of doing all of this research and talking about it again, I have a feeling I will be saging again tonight, and we are going to have happy, pretty thoughts. And that is the story of the House of 200 Demons from Gary, Indiana, and my personal experiences with it.
Wow. What is it now? Like,
it's just an empty lot. I think Zach still owns the lot, or he sold it back to like the community, but another house, to this day, I do not believe another house has been put on the lot. I could be wrong. But yeah. Whew. So what I've learned is
I didn't learn anything. I didn't learn shit. I just am terrified now.
Sorry. What I've learned is I am still absolutely horrified of demons. I hate talking about them. And I really hope that, I know this is our second episode of October, but I really hope that I did justice to your October scary needs, because I'm terrified.
That was crazy. That's crazy. Nuts. Did they ever look to see what happened? Like, did they do research to see if something did happen in that house, like death-wise or murder-wise?
I believe Zach in his documentary did a shit ton of research. I mean, as much as we make fun of him, like, he does have researchers, and he really do look into this stuff.
You have to when you go into
off the top of my head. Like I said, I have not had the gumption to watch the documentary again. So but I do remember there being a whole part where they were, they had Dave Schrader, they had a whole bunch of people looking into it. But I don't think they ever had like definitive proof one way or the other.
Huh. Well,
happy spooky season. We love you so much. Thanks for hanging out with us. I'm going to close out now because I'm sweating. So make sure you're following us on social media. If you would like more crazy, scary content like this and you're all caught up, go visit our Patreon. You can hear more crazy, scary stories there. You can get there through our website at deathbeforebooze.com. You can also find our merch site there, deathbeforebooze.com. Just click merch. I know there's other things, but I'm really nervous, so I love you so much, and I say it every week. So you've heard it 54 times at this point, and you should be fine.
All
I
right,
love you.
guys.
Bye.
Stay spooky. Bye.